Hello, Deep Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now, is the joy of being a live stream. Coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York, folks. Lovely to be here with you as always. As always, hit me with where are you at in the chat. What are you grateful for in the Schmateful for? Brooklyn. Grateful for my lucky gray shirt. No, this is just a regular shirt. I know I usually wear a black t-shirt all the time. And it's laundry day, so I had to wear something. It's funny, it's laundry day, so I have to wear something nicer. Short sleeve, though. Keeping it real. Folks. Hit me with where you at. What are you grateful for? Hello, Julia Temple from Vienna, Austria. Grateful for dreams. Oh my goodness, what a great... It's amazing. The more I think about it, how amazing... Oh, my book got wet. How amazing life is. There's so many parts of this that are just insanely cool. Wow, what a cool thing. My some ink got wet and all the colors ran, and they're rainbow colors. There's blue ink, but they ran. I would show you, but it's all notes from IFS session, so I can't hold it on screen, but it's pretty cool. Sun's out, guns out. Nice. Folks, the retreat is effectively full. I'm so excited. That's such good news. There's still a little bit of space left, but it's it was in a few days. It filled up really fast. So that's good news. It bodes well. And we're going to meditate today. Today is Freaky Friday. That means that we're taking requests, folks. So tell me about challenges, interests, curiosities, all that stuff. And we will... CPU audio. Is there an echo on my voice? Because... it seems that the computer audio is mirroring my check. Computer audio. Interesting. Is there something in the background going? Because it seems like the meter is fidgeting here. Okay, tell me if you hear a difference between now and now. If you're hearing a difference. Because weirdly the computer audio says it's rumbling, like there's sound in the background. Let's fix one thing. I'm pretty sure I know one thing that's wrong. I don't understand why this is the case. Tell me if you understand this. Okay, that should have fixed the issue. Tell me if you understand this. Oh, I get it. It was picking up from the microphone of my VR headset. Why is it not? If you have PC folks out here, why? Explain this to me. I have to have a whole elaborate setup. I had to get all programs and things and get someone to help me set it up if I want VR audio to just come out of the VR headset. All other audio, just regular. That's it. It's like a totally complex thing. I have to switch, or I have to switch the sources every single time I turn on the VR. Anyway, folks, the minor frustrations of living in a super luxurious technological wonderland. Okay, folks, let me know where you're at. What are you grateful for? We have Aaron B. from Indiana, pizza night. Wow, I haven't had a pizza night in a long time. That'd be fun. Good times. I'm glad pizza night is going well. I'm thinking about turning up the audio on the recorder. Let's make sure the mic is... Sorry about that. Should be this far away. It is too far away. I changed my setup. Okay, that's pretty hot. Check. Okay, turn it down a little. Check. I changed my setup. Oh, now it's peaking on the stream. Here we go. Check. I changed my setup to what was it? The whole arrangement, my whole screen. It's funny how many things I change, and it just looks exactly the same for you guys. I changed my whole setup, and now the microphone is in a very different position, further away. I raised the couch because I was always like doing the crisscross applesauce with my legs, and I was like getting old, so I raised the couch by 6 inches, and now I'm sort of at a really perfect seated height. I'm actually thinking about, because the retreat's coming, I gotta get my body in shape for sitting a lot. I was thinking about actually changing the couch so that I could sit cross-legged on the couch. Get my knees in shape. Cat Letterbox, welcome from Switzerland. Grateful for pants. What a lovely invention. We really figured out a way to shape that fabric so that it really serves us well. Folks, we're going to meditate today, but you know what? It's Freaky Friday, so, plants. Nice. I missed the L. For plants. Plants are even better. Plants, I think, are cooler than pants. I think our lives would be very much different, much worse if we didn't have plants versus if we didn't have pants. We could use plants as pants. Folks, so here's the catch of it all. Let's see, let's crank this down a tiny bit. Here's the catch of it all, is that it's Freaky Friday. Dave is grateful for friends. I'm grateful for you having friends, my friend. Let's see here. So we're taking requests. So what, questions, quandaries, queries, challenges, or concerns do you have? Questions, quandaries, queries, challenges, or concerns do you have in your life today? Maybe it seems unrelated to meditation. But what's coming up right now that would be helpful to if you were on the other side of? Imagine you could wave a magic wand and change any aspect of your life at this moment. What would it be? Beep, 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 beep. And yes. Discomfort. Okay, tell me more about the discomfort, because I'm not quite sure exactly what you mean by discomfort, because that could mean a number of things. And we'll go from there. Let's see. Discord is open. Just for fun, I might open up the thing now for do the guided meditation on Discord in case anyone wants to listen in. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, hit me with physical discomfort, back pain, sore throat. Or I wonder if you're not feeling well. I want to become more patient. Excellent. One of the quickest, so patience generally is accepting what's occurring right now in every sensory way. So let's do that, and also in relationship to pain. Any difficulty within pain? How do we do that in a meditation? Any other requests, questions, quandaries, queries, as I start to formulate how we would do that? Patience. I've never thought about how to specifically cultivate patience. I mean, I feel like it's just so inherent in having to meditate. It's like, it takes a lot of patience. I want to observe the sense of self. That's a good one. We can do that. Maybe being patient with discomfort. Yeah. Well, I've heard before that patience is a kind of tolerance, and that maybe a better approach would be acceptance. So either way, I think we're talking about equanimity here. We're talking about the realm of equanimity, self and non-self. So here's something. Okay, maybe we can get into this. I don't know if I've covered this or done this as a meditation before, but what you can do is, if it's possible, and this is a hard task, and we can see if we can get there with this guided meditation. If it's possible, you can separate out the part that feels the pain from the pain. I know that seems very weird, because it seems like, well, I'm feeling the pain. Well, this gets back to a question of observing the sense of self. It's typically a part, meaning like a self type part that's feeling the pain. And if we can get that part to step aside or relax or sort of, in some way ungrip the pain becomes suddenly very manageable, and that part's like, oh, okay, like I guess I can rest on the side. I don't have to grip onto the pain. It really does feel like there is when that part grabs on the pain, like it, ignites pretty radically. So maybe we'll do that today. Maybe we'll explore that. If somebody has other things they want to add in, let me know. We can make a real Franken meditation. And yeah. Okay, and we'll go from there. So folks, find a nice comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the sit. I had terrible news. Well, it's not terrible news. My video editor's like, I'm busy. I'm sorry, I'm busy right now. And I'm like, we got a lot of videos to make, my friend. Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about pain and decoupling the self that feels the pain from the pain. Okay. So this is a little bit complex. So I'm going to try to explain now what I'm going to do. And hopefully that ends up being what we actually do. Sometimes I change it right in the middle. So what we need to do, okay, we need to establish a few things. One, that there is some discomfort or some self. So there is the discomfort. There is the self that is feeling the discomfort. That's the part that's saying, ouch, ouch, ouch. Finding a way for that part to settle, we'll probably use the breath to slow the nervous system down and let that part step aside. And often that part feels like it has to grab onto the pain because it hurts so much, And so usually what I'll do is I'll talk to that part and ask it clearly, would it feel like a relief if you could let go of that pain? And that part's like, yeah. Oh, what a relief it would finally feel like if I could just let go of that pain. And that is that's an off ramp for that part to not have to grip onto the pain. Just saying, like, look at all that possible relief. And then eventually saying, why don't you just take that rest for now? Like, you don't have to go away, but for now, just take that rest, hang out with that potential relief over there. And is it okay if we talk to the pain without you for a little while? And if that part says yes, which it doesn't always say, but if it does, then that sets us up in a position where we can then explore the pain as such, as a body sensation, without all the reactivity. The reactivity is actually what makes it hurt. You'll be amazed if you can do this separation, suddenly the intensity of the pain goes down dramatically. So with that, let's jump right in. Find a nice comfortable position. And when you're ready, we will begin. Actually, let's wait for cat litter box. Cat litter box. When you're ready, we will begin. It's funny, my posture looks different when I'm wearing a t-shirt versus this shirt. I feel like I can see my posture much more clearly. It's funny because I tend to sort of be like this because I realize I'm sort of leaning forward. It's interesting, you can see it. So, all right, cat litter box, ready? Here we go. Everybody find that position, and when you're ready, we'll begin. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths and just feeling the body rise and fall. Each time we begin a meditation, we begin with the momentum of all the previous moments. So, assessing in this moment if the mind is overly wakeful, active, jumpy, this kind of thing, or overly restful, sleepy, foggy, and adjusting in the other direction, finding a balance between the two to be alert and relaxed. Sweeping through the body to be sure we're not holding any undue tension. So starting at the top of the head, relax the brow, relax the muscles behind the eyes. Allow the face to go smooth. Relax the back of the tongue and let the jaw go slack. Relax the neck and the shoulders. Relaxing the arms and tuning into the subtle sensations in the palms of the hands and tips of the fingers. This moment, letting go of any attempt to control the breath, just letting the body breathe as it will. Noticing the natural tightening and relaxing of the upper chest and upper back as the breath comes and goes. Relaxing the belly and the lower back. Relaxing the hips and the upper legs. The knees and calves. The ankles, and relaxing the feet. Then relaxing the entire body all together as we open awareness to take in the totality of all our experience. And as we do this, I'm going to encourage you to begin to slow the breath. So we're going to be allowing the lower belly to be where we begin the breath, letting the lower ribs, soft area of the belly below the ribs, expand, reaching up into the lower ribs, letting the side ribs expand, our lower back. Eventually letting the upper chest lift with the breath, and then pausing, holding the breath for a few seconds, 2 or 3, even 4 seconds. And then letting the out-breath be very subtle, smooth, refined. And this takes a few minutes in order to really have an effect. What you'll likely notice is that our usual sense of self, the activity that we normally refer to as me, will still be going on. It will be active and perhaps feel as though it's occurring in the front of our experience, the face, chest, usually where we will associate an experience of self. But slowly, as the breath slows, some sense of a quieter, more still experience will begin to coalesce in the background. In this way, we begin to show the part of ourself that's more active, that there is a calmer version of the nervous system. So it can feel as though our usual self, or selves, are actively doing their thing, and these can sort of rest into the soft, quiet space of a calm nervous system in the background. This is the equivalent and analog of awareness within the physical nervous system. This is a quiet space that doesn't need anything to be different. It itself is a kind of calm. And we're not trying to get rid of the activity of whatever selves are arising. We're letting these two spaces mix, this calm, quiet space and the more active space. And this allows us to get a layer of critical distance from the parts, become less identified or blended with the parts. To be able to see them as activity rather than reality or how our reality is in this moment. And so if we have any discomfort arising in this moment, pain in the body or emotional discomfort, seeing if you can find the part that feels that discomfort It's the part that's saying ouch, ouch, ow, ow, ow. And staying with this long, slow, refined breath. Seeing if we can find the part of our experience that finds that sensation or that experience difficult. It may be subtle, it might be unclear, but just getting a sense that there is part of our experience that very much does not like X. And beginning to see if it's possible to feel the discomfort itself, separate from the part that feels overwhelmed by it. Often this means feeling the sensation in the body and letting that part of the self, letting that part that grips onto it relax on the sidelines. This may or may not be possible in this moment. If not, just softening the experience of that part, slowing down the intensity with the breath. Overwhelm is simply too much, too fast. So by slowing down the experience, we attenuate the intensity. If this is all we do, simply reducing the intensity for this part, that's more than enough. Sometimes it can be challenging to separate the discomfort from the part that feels the discomfort, largely because the part that feels the discomfort is somewhat fixated on that experience. So the discomfort arises and the part that feels overwhelmed by it just comes right to the foreground. So we're slowly trying to make it possible for that part to not need to take on all of that discomfort. So taking a moment to notice the part that feels the discomfort, that dislikes it, to notice its drive. Its drive is to point out the discomfort and to make it stop. just pointing this out can make it feel like the intensity increases. And if this is too overwhelming, it's always invited to rest, pause the meditation, to practice with the eyes open, or sometimes it's just a matter of letting the body stretch or move some of that emotional energy around a little bit. The body may have an impulse to stretch or yawn or any number of different body movements. This is a way for the body to move that difficult sensation around, to spread it out. So listen to those impulses. Just do so mindfully. And ask that part, the one that feels the difficulty, if it would feel like a relief, if it didn't have to feel this anymore. And the question may be obvious to the mind, but to the part this can seem surprisingly important. The part can feel like, oh, of course, it'd be such a deep relief if I didn't have to focus on this. So just staying with that sense of it would be a relief, just feeling into that. Keeping the breath slow, allowing awareness to stay spacious. And if we find that overwhelm creeps in, knowing that we can always back off. It's very important for our system to know that it's okay to pause the practice, to stretch, to move, and also noticing if the breath is faded away, if it's become shallow. Of course. If so, re-engaging, letting the body fill from the belly to the side ribs to the upper chest. Holding for a few moments, then letting the out-breath be smooth, refined, and complete. Again, knowing that this can take a few minutes before it has full effect. You may also notice that it feels like you become fixated on the discomfort. Notice if at this moment, if you feel any overwhelm, this kind of thing, if it's easy enough to just let go into all of awareness, all of your experience together, or if some part of us feels like it can't let go of paying attention to that difficult sensation. Often parts will blend with us, causing us to become identified, so it feels like I am simply stuck on this particular set of sensations. It's not a problem. That blending is part of nature too, just noticing that it is a part, a kind of sub-mind or sub-self. That is fixated on that discomfort. So you can let that part know that it can rest into the quiet part of the nervous system. You can ask that part if it would be a relief if it never had to worry about or feel those feelings ever again. And then soak into that experience of relief. And of course you can also simply move the body, stretch, adjust. And so staying with the practice, if the eyes are closed, allowing the eyes to slowly open, eventually letting them rest on a single point. Letting the spaciousness of awareness and the spaciousness of seeing merge. Letting that spaciousness show us if we were becoming fixated on some discomfort. Letting that melt into the whole. And in that way, letting this particular moment be the great teacher. It shows us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay. Ooh. Allow yourself to stretch it up. Stretch it up, stretch it in. folks. What was I like? What happened? What are you like now? What's the news? What's going on? Hit me with what that was like. What happened? And what on earth are you like now? You can also jump, and I mean literally jump, over to our Discord. Jump on your computer until Discord launches, and then you can talk. You can tell me about your experience, what happened, what you're like now. And of course it's a little awkward. What would the internet be if it weren't a little awkward? But it also means that we get what was my catchphrase yesterday for, like, if I can hear it, if I can hear your question, you get a better answer. That seems like a terrible catchphrase. Nas, here's a task for you. If somebody else doesn't remember what my catchphrase was yet last stream for this exact moment, I want to remember what it was. It was right after the meditation ended and I was talking about the Discord. I want to know what my catchphrase was. There's something about, do you get a better answer if I can hear you? Okay, Dave is here. I'm going to pull you into the chat zone. Other folks, feel free to hit me with your reports, questions, quandaries, queries, challenges, or concerns. And then we will go from there. Dave, you're with us live.
Hello there.
Hello, sir. Let me adjust. Okay, hello. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm good, thank you.
Good. How's life? What's new? What's going on in Lithuania?
Nothing much, really.
Wait,
just
help me
waiting for something to happen.
Help me understand here. Lithuania, I'm an American. I'm a true American. I do not know where any countries are. If someone showed me a map without borders, I'd be like, I think it's all China. I have no idea. Where is Lithuania situated?
It's near Poland, actually.
Oh, it's near Poland. Oh my God! So you're not far from everything that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's some people like panicking and stuff. Stocking up for some food.
Is there a chance Lithuania could be pulled into the conflict? Like, is Lithuania in the EU?
Yeah, it is in the EU.
Okay, well, good. You guys have that going for you. That's very good, because they can't really mess with EU countries. That's very good. Okay, good. You guys are.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
it would be. I mean, you can already see how, like, the whole world is, like, freaking out because of this. If they went after a EU country, holy shit, that would be a very significant escalation. It would really be, because the thing is that all the EU countries, they like support each other. So if let's see here, I want to do this one. There we go. Can I open that? Okay, there we go. Lithuania. Now everyone is not as, everyone else is uneducated. I know where this country was. I was just joking before. So that's where Lithuania is. Let's see here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is my problem, is that I don't know most of the countries. So I'm like, oh, right. I'm like, Italy, I recognize. Anyway, okay. So
yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, it's like hard to not, but I'm like, right. And I know that, France and Germany are right next to Italy because I've been there, but I'm like, which one? Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is not geography with Janusz, because that would be a big disaster. So, okay, so hit me with your report. What was that experience like?
Okay, so when I'm doing a guided meditation, and when I'm listening to guidance, sometimes I cannot do that says in guidance.
You cannot do what in guidance?
Like some, I don't know how to explain. It's like when you say like observe like some part, and I don't see that part, I cannot find that part. So in that situation, what do? I feel like I am just not identifying with some parts and I cannot find it. That's why.
Yeah, that's a
So
really
what
good
I
point.
do what I do is I just focus on all the sensations at once.
Yeah. So in a generic sense, whenever typically, and I'm not sure if I did this today, but basically, whenever I do a guided meditation, I try to make it so that it gets incrementally more challenging. So if you get to a point and it's too challenging, you just go back to what the most recent thing was that you got, and you just stay with that. You're like, I don't know what's going on. Okay, what's the most recent thing I got? And it was, we were talking about whole and part. So that's one part. That's one aspect of it. Nate also asks a question which might be similar to yours. Nate says, can you talk more about defining or isolating a part that's in pain? So in a sense, you're part of the process is learning to get to know parts. And I think that this is kind of a essential aspect. So let me talk about how do we define parts? How do we define?
So
Oh, go ahead, please.
do I have to understand the concept of parts to meditate? Or
No. But I mean, if you want to do a meditation on parts, that'll make a difference. If you want to do, does that make sense? Like, do you have to know what the breath sensation is to meditate? No, but do you have to know what it is to do a breath meditation? Probably. Does that make sense?
kinda.
I like when I'm unclear because it's funny. Okay, so I'm being unclear. So basically, to do a parts meditation, yes. The answer is yes. You would need to know. You need to experience parts and
Oh, okay. I
yeah.
understand.
That's
Yeah.
all I mean. So let's talk about what do I mean by parts. Now, typically when I talk about whole and part, it's just a part of my experience. Now, when we talk about parts from like an IFS perspective, they're sub-selves. They're sub-minds. They are personality traits or drives within us. So you've probably had the experience where you've said like, well, one part of me, like even right now, like one part of me wants to listen to the answer to this question, and probably one other part of you is like, all right, let's get to the answer. Or maybe one part is like, I just want to have an ice cream sandwich, like let's just move on. Or you have other things that are on your mind that are pulling you in other directions. So each of these is a part of you, right? So one part of me wants to
Yeah.
just lay on the couch and hang out. Another part of me wants to like get something ambitious done, and
Yeah.
this kind of thing. These are just parts of us.
That is
Generally,
part of it. I get it.
yeah. So generally, you can find a part because it has a drive. And that means any drive, wanting or not wanting, liking or disliking. It is a thing that wants something. So, for instance, I have a specific one that's like my tech one that wants the new phone. It always like it's like look at the new thing, and it's like a little kid, and it's like, oh my god, a thing, and I'm gonna research it, and I want to get this thing. It wants to get a thing. So that's like a very clear drive for the one that wants to just take a nap. It's like very clear. And if any aspect of you wants a thing, it is a part. So basically, like right now, if you want to understand what I'm saying, it's like, oh, I'd like to understand this. I'd like to get it. That is a part of you that wants to have that thing. And the reason why at first it seems so impossible, it's like, what do you mean? It just seems like me. Well, any identity is likely going to be some form of a part, usually. The one example of that not being the case is with when we can learn to be one with the whole, and that kind of awareness that's there and present, and basically we recognize that is us, that is my nature, and it doesn't need anything to be different. And in Hinduism, that would be called our true self. Go ahead.
But I feel like from awakening perspective, there is no meaning in sensation. So I don't know.
There's no
What are your
meaning.
thoughts?
You said there's
Yeah,
no.
in sensations. Yeah.
Well, right.
Like,
So I'll give another example to restate what you've said and show how it is relevant. So there is no. We both know. You do cryptocurrency stuff, right? So we both know that money itself doesn't actually have a value. It is just something written on paper, right? You can agree there?
yeah.
Right. So try to take that piece of information and go to your local grocery store and get yourself a loaf of bread with that piece of information and see how well you do, right? It's not going to work. So we're talking about two different contexts. In a, you could say in a absolute context, yes, money has no value ultimately. It is an agreement, but in a relative context, within a range of, circumstances, it has a lot of value, and we use it, to manage that value. It is what we use to manage that abstract exchange of value. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The same is true with parts or selves, right? I used to call this whole thing the multiple self model, and then I discovered IFS, and their meditation technology on this, or their technology on this, is much better, so I just abandoned that whole structure. Maybe I should, just for branding purposes, just to have my own thing, but I see other people do that, and it just becomes really complicated, and plus people can't get the benefit of all the other systems, so I don't really like to do that. I think I can maybe suspect that's what Culadasa was doing with his sub-minds, because sub-minds are just describing, parts. But it means that people who are into sub-minds cannot get all the benefit from IFS. So the same is true for parts. So different parts of us have drives, and they're like, I want this thing, I want, and so but they really do want that thing, that
So
part. Go ahead.
So we basically need to understand, so each part needs to understand each other to
Each
be
part,
more accepting.
so part of it, I think what I would say is each part has a drive and a way that it's trying to meet that drive. So for instance, the part of me that's like, oh my God, the new phone, the thing, whatever, there's the drive, and then there's the execution of the drive. So the drive might be to play. That might be the drive. Or the drive might be to explore, right? And that part really wants to play and explore, and the way that it thinks it's going to get that need met is by getting this new phone. Oh my God, then I'll get to play. Or maybe the drive is safety. Oh, I just want to be safe and everything's good, but if I'm not safe now because I have the crappy phone and people will judge me, so I've got to get the good phone, right? So a part could be driven by anything, really. And there's the need of the part, and then there's the execution of the part. The need of the part is wholesome, always. That's the theory of, IFS and, a range of psychology, but the need of the part is always wholesome. The execution is where we get in trouble. And typically what happens is we merge the two, and we say, oh, that part of me that wants that phone is consumerist, and it's, blah, blah, blah. So let's push that part down. Let's ignore that part of me, or the part that wants awakening, or the part that, So part of what we're doing is trying to distinguish, or today we worked with the part that doesn't like the pain. It just wants the pain to stop. It's like, ow, 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 ow. So its drive is safety or comfort or, reducing pain. But the way that it's doing that is gripping onto the pain, and it's actually making the whole system freak out because it's too intense. Now, you didn't find that part today, so don't worry about that. But what we want to do is separate out the part from its drive, its job. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. So then your question was, what if I can't find a part? Well, you can just start with whatever part is present and be present with that part. Know that that part has a drive, and you can find any drive just by looking for any preference. Part wants a thing or doesn't want a thing. And at any given moment, there are parts pushing and pulling in these different ways. So you can find any part, and then try to see if you can find its underlying need. Like what does it ultimately need? And this takes time, and it takes like writing and some level of reflection. But I'll give an example for me that's very personal. And let me also check, because I realize today is all the streams are short now with the scheduling, so I want to make sure I'm not going to bump up against the edge. And we still have time. And today, okay, I do have to go pretty soon. So I was saying, an example for me. So I found that, the part that understands what I'm saying right now, I know this is going to seem weird, but the part that understands this and can put this in a network of other things that understands, that's a part. We often associate the part that understands things and can create a network of understanding as us. And every part says it is us. It takes over the whole body and mind, and the part that feels panicked, or the part that feels sad, or whatever it is, takes over and says, I am reality, I am the real self. So the part that understands this right now is a part. It is the intellect. And it is limited, because all it can do, it cannot experience everything. It can only make a model of everything. And it thinks that like if it understands the practice of whole part, if it understands that experience and remembers it, that's enough. That's the same thing. But it can't ever actually have contact with the unconditioned experience because it is conditioned itself. That layer is what Descartes was talking about, like, I think, therefore I am. So that layer is thinking itself into existence, and so therefore it thinks that it is all of reality, and it thinks that if it can model reality within itself. So it took me a while, like through doing IFS and through doing this work, seeing like, why does that part have that drive? Like, I need to understand. This is very important. Let me understand this. And I tracked that back. This is within a IFS therapy session. It was actually a public one. I was in a training, and so I was sitting there doing this in front of 30 people. So there's this sense of like needing to understand, but there was a kind of there was a need for that part. I want to understand. So I traced that part back with the therapist helped me sort of go back, and there was this little part that was very young. And often if you trace back to the need, it's like really young. It's like 10 and under, or in that range, or very young, and that part needed to understand because it remembered that when it understood things, it would get attention and acceptance, particularly from my father. And if it was smart, it would get attention. And otherwise, I just sort of ignored and like annoying. And just my dad was just very like in his own little self-destructive world. And so there was this high value in my family of understanding and expressing and showing that you could understand and making some very clever connection between different parts and pieces. Now, that doesn't mean that drive to connect things is bad. And we don't want to say like that intellect or the self, or what we say like the ego, is bad. And you hear in a lot of religious and meditation communities, like, you got to get rid of the ego, or often they're talking about like, let's take this part of you that wants to be rich or wants to be whatever, let's get rid of that. We got to dissolve that, but not thinking about like, what's the underlying drive. So that the underlying drive of that part, let me see if I can think back, was to have love. It just wanted love. And so what we often need to do is find out what that underlying drive is and provide that for that part internally and the thing that can provide that, because is it another part doing it? How could that part possibly get the love that it needs in that moment? Well, our true self, or that kind awareness, has everything every part needs. That's one of the reasons why I emphasize that all the time, because that has everything all of those parts needs. And so a lot of what we're doing is taking a part and introducing it to kind awareness. And it's just a matter of like, okay, like, let's have that part be, let's be present with that part. And a lot of what happens if we find a part, 90% of the work is just to be present with it. Don't try to get it to change or show us, show me what your original need is. You just hang out with that part. I see you, of course. That's one of the reasons why I use that phrase, of course. Because whatever the part says, I hate you, this is stupid, this is a bad thing. Of course, that makes sense. Course. And that phrase is it's the vibe of the kind awareness. That's the kind of thing that the kind awareness would say, of course. So does that give a bit of a context for this whole thing?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course. Okay, I'm going to have a bunch of folks here left. So thank you so much for great questions, man. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much also.
Yeah, man. Talk to you soon. Okay, let's get to these reports here. I got some great reports here, Nate. Hopefully that answered your question. We got some ones that are long enough that I want the computer to read them. Computer, what is this? What does Julia Temple have to say?
Calm and pleasant sit. Parts did come up but stayed quite vague. Some distractions and tiredness in the middle, but concentration got better again near the end.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad they did. Thank you for sharing your personal experience. Cat Letterbox says,
the discomfort part of the self in the throat got more poignant at some point, but when welcoming it into the all, there was also this deep gratitude and love for being alive that the part was showing me. Thank you. Great.
And you'll often find this really interesting thing that like a part that is really concerned with, it's like, I'm not safe. Let's say that's sort of where we get down to. We realize, okay, the reason it is, arguing a lot or doing something, etc. So we realize that, okay, that part doesn't feel safe. And we'll realize that if we can meet that part's need, that part will actually be the locus of where we feel deep safety. it knows how to feel deep safety once it actually gets that need met. Or for me, the example I found was that the part of me that feels like fundamentally alone, that feels isolated and alienated at this sort of like existential level, that's the part that feels connection. So it's often this weird sort of flip of different things. That's great. Nate says, my physical pressure were in my forehead, neck, jaw, and shoulders. Whew. Excellent. Okay, and sometimes, it's not a part. Sometimes it's just a sensation, but it's not the sensation we're concerned with. It's the part that's like, ow, 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 ow. Because the sensations don't care. The sensations are just there. They're present. It's the part that is conscious of them and wants them to go away. That's preferring them to go away. Nami Dami. It's great. We've been waiting. We've been doing this stream for years, folks. Waiting for Nami Dami to show up. And finally, Nami Dami is here. Folks, you might not know Nami Dami, but we have a lovely way of welcoming you, which is a total tradition which everyone here in the entire chat knows by heart. Welcome, Nami Dami. Lovely to be here with you as always. Wow, I'm glad. Sometimes I do this and people say jazz hands. This is how people who are in the hearing impaired community clap. I think this is it. Or is it actually just like, I think it might be this, but I just do this. Excellent. Okay, folks, I do have to hit the eject button for today, but guess what? We're going to be back here in fewer than 48 hours. So let's christen Nami Dami's experience here with a little bit of outro music. Folks, lovely to be here with you as always. Take a moment in this moment to open up awareness, meaning take in all of your experience as one big collective. Of course, the mind will dart around to little details, but let those details melt into the totality. Notice any parts of you, a part of you that enjoyed this, a part of you that was confused, whatever part is arising, and just say welcome, welcoming that part to the totality. So you may be familiar with my whole part meditation, where we see any part and we welcome it to the whole. Well, this works for these same kind of parts. I think I meant 72. What did I say, 48? 72. Thank you. We're back here in fewer than 72 hours. Thank you so much there, Nate, for that, Dave. That was very helpful. You were a little late, but Nami, don't you worry. All of our streams, if you want to watch them, are here at our second YouTube channel. youtube.com/deepmindfulness2, third link in that list. There are approximately 100 million live streams that you can check out and have a good time with. So if you're familiar with my whole part meditation, it is 100% the same thing as letting a part know its relationship to the whole. Same thing, except we're dealing now with a more complex part. Teaching that part that it's safe in the whole, in the totality. So this is a very wax on, wax off thing. We've been learning this skill all along. Folks, lovely to be here with you as always. And as always, practice well, take care of each other, have fun, and we'll see you all very soon. Bye.